What's up, guys? I really want to thank you for purchasing this video. Today we're going to be talking about 20 different press releases you guys can use and drills to improve those press releases, okay? So we're going to be talking about all the situations, pretty much every single release that I personally teach to my guys, and then drills to improve those specific releases, okay? So we're going to talk about when to use the release, the technique behind the release, how to get you separation on the release, and then overall drills to just improve your game, right? Because you always want to have multiple tools in your arsenal, but if you guys can walk into every single game with about 5 to 6 releases to use, that's going to help you guys effectively beat a DB and have a plan coming up to the line every single time. So I hope this video gives you guys some value. Thank you again for purchasing this video. Let's get started. All right, guys, so the first release we're going to be talking about is this single jab release with your inside leg, okay? So this is a great release to use when you really just got to get off the ball fast and you're like a first or second read on the play, right? That's the thing that a lot of people mistake. They think that every single release is based on every single portion of the play, right? That's why it's important as a receiver to know the whole entire play and to know the reads that the quarterback has to make. You almost want to be a second quarterback on the field, right? So when I'm here and I'm lined up, it's like if I got a DB walked up and he's about to get physical and he's about to get pressed and he's walked up, squatted down, we know it's man coverage, I got to get off the ball quick because I'm the first read on the play. That's how we got to be thinking, okay? So I come off the line here. The best thing that I can do in this situation with this quick jab is to use this leg to shoot me out wide, right? So it's just going to be a single jab and then you're out of there, right? So just a single jab to the inside, pushing off that inside leg and going. Now the mistake a lot of people make on this is they'll come off the line and they'll open up their toe and they'll pick their chest up in the air, right? Now the problem with that is you don't have as much explosion when you do that. If you can be here and you keep your toe forward, that keeps the weight on the inside arch of your foot. But when you keep that weight on the inside arch of your foot, you could actually push out of there and get some explosion because that inside arch is your drive leg, right? But if you go here and you open up your toe, you can't push back the opposite direction. You have to push up, and then my hips lock out, I pop up, and I don't have any explosion. So you want to make sure that you're coming here, weight stays on the inside arch of your foot, your head and your shoulder is shaking to the inside, and you're pushing and ripping off the line of scrimmage. Be prepared to fight the hands of a DB. In this case, you want to get an outside release, right? So I'm here, I get this jab, I want to go outside. Know that you got to beat the outside hand of the DB. So if you could swat, chop, if you could rip underneath his outside hand, so his left hand, and get him off, if we were lined up on the right side, that's what's going to get you space in terms with your feet and with your hands, okay? So that's a quick little, just single jab, speed release. Now I'm going to show you guys a drill to work that. All right, guys, so for this drill specifically, you're going to need a med ball. Now, for this med ball, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be working this single jab, and you're going to start with it on your right hip. When you move this med ball hip to hip, it forces your upper half to move while you can keep your toes forward. Because what a lot of people will do on this is they'll just step and go, and they don't sell with their upper half, right? Because a DB, when he's in press, where's he looking at? He's looking at your hips, he's looking at your torso, he's looking at that number, right? So if I can sell with my upper half and really throw my hip out wide, but keep my toes forward and weight on the inside arch, I can get explosion and be able to sell the route, right? So that's what this is going to be working. It's going to be a 3-part drill. So you're going to be here, you're going to start with it on your right hip. If you're going left leg, obviously if you're going right leg, you're going to start on your left hip. So we're going to start here. All we're going to do is we're just going to go 1, that's the first rep. Then 2, going again, just hip to hip. Make sure I keep a good pad level. Now on the third one, all we're gonna do is we're gonna jab, and I'm gonna throw this medicine ball as hard as I can out here and push and rip this left arm through to push vertical up into the route, okay? So it's a 3-part sequence. You wanna go about, what I have my guys do is we go 4 sets with the med ball. So it's 1, then I come back, 2, then I come back, throw on the third, and when you throw, that's really working your explosion on the release, and then we burst up, and then we'll do 1 set. We'll do 1 set without it, where it's just 1 rep, and I burst off. Okay, I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look, full speed. All right, guys, so now we're going to be talking about this double up release, okay? So what this double up release is building off of that single jab that we just talked about and just showed you a drill for. So it's going to be here, we're lined up. So this double up is going to be where we just give it. It could build off of that same single jab release, or it could be the opposite direction. You can step out wide, then back in. But the most important thing about this double up, double move, right? So it's 2 steps. You want to step in the direction that you want to go first, okay? So if I want to take an inside release on this DB, let's say he's lined up, head up, there's another great release for when a DB's walked down and he's about maybe a yard, gonna get physical, gonna get hands. I gotta give him something quick. I'm maybe the first or the second read on the play, and I gotta get up into this route, right? Let's say I'm a first read dig on a route, and I get man coverage. This is something that I could use to take an inside release and run this dig, okay? So now I'm here lined up. Now, double up is where you're just gonna go 1, and I gotta sell with my body like I'm doing the exact same single jab release. 2, push off of this inside leg, and then I'm back up over the top of this route, and I work to restack, okay? So this double up release is a great release to use when this guy's walk down, gonna get physical, gonna get hands. Now, the technique of this is it's important, same idea. You don't wanna pop your chest up and open up your toes. You wanna keep that weight on the inside arch of your feet, and you're pushing back and forth. You're throwing your hip out, not throwing your hip open, right? So I'm here, I'm lined up. It's gonna be just a 1, 2. I'm throwing out wide. Weight stays on the inside part of your foot, so you can push, rip underneath, and then go. And then if we wanna go the opposite way, I would just step wide first. I go 1, 2, and I wanna take an outside release, but that's gonna build. We're gonna talk about that in a second with this wide step release. We're gonna get to that in about 2 more releases, but that in out, so it's an in out release or a double up release, or it's just a quick 1, 2. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work on that double up. All right, guys, so this next drill we're gonna be working on is just a 6-cone drill, right? So we have 6 cones lined up. All we're gonna be working on is just this 1, 2, just this in out release. So the main thing that we wanna focus on is keeping the weight on the inside arch of my foot and running my arms, right? Because again, on this double up release, where's this DB gonna be watching? He's gonna be watching my hips, he's gonna be watching my torso. So if I come off the line and I just take a 1, 2 and I stay completely square, I'm not gonna get any separation. But if I take this 1, 2 and I'm here and I move my body, then I throw my body back, but at the same time I keep my toes forward, weight on the inside arch, and I'm working my hands, I keep my eyes forward, I'm in a good pad level position, I'm gonna be able to get some separation. So that's what we're gonna be focusing on this drill. We're just gonna be going left, right, left, right, left, right, just working that in out. We're bursting off of this last cone up vertical. So it's gonna look like this. So we're gonna be lined up here. So it's gonna be just set, go, left, right, left, right, left, right, pushing off of this right leg, ripping my right arm through, and I'm pushing vertical up on this route. All you can do is you can just burst off for about 5 yards if you don't have a quarterback. Off of this, if you have a quarterback, you could about burst off, and he could throw you just this nice little easy up over the shoulder, or you guys could just work this like maybe quick back shoulder fade. I don't want you running a route off of this. I'd rather have you focus on the technique of this, okay? So we're gonna go about 4 sets each side where we go left, right, and then 4 sets where we go right, left. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed. All right, guys, so now we're gonna be talking about the next release that builds off of those 2. Is gonna be talking about this triple step release, okay? Or this icky release. That's what a lot of people call this. They call it an icky release or a triple step release. So all it is just 3 steps. So it's gonna be a 1, 2, 3, and you're throwing on that 3rd step, trying to sell on the 3rd step, okay? So like I'm lined up here, and let's say I wanna take an outside release, right? Maybe let's say I beat him on that 1, 2 a couple times, right? And I've taken that inside release on him on that in out like we were just talking about. So now maybe I come up here, inside legs up, and I go 1, 2, 3, and I throw on that 3rd step and I burst up vertical. This is another great release because the feet are quick on this, right? So when my feet are quick, I can work this against a pressed up DB who's gonna get physical, anything quick to get off the line, and when I'm a 1st or 2nd read on the play. I'm not working this when I'm the last read on the play because it's too quick. I'm in the spot too quick and the quarterback's not gonna be able to go through his progressions. But if I'm a 1st read, like let's say it's maybe like a smash concept, right? And you're running this corner and you wanna take an inside release on this corner, you could give him a 1, 2, 3 and take this outside release, or you wanna take an outside release on this corner, you give him that 1, 2, 3 and then go. The important thing about this is you're stepping opposite of the direction you want to go, okay? So it's an odd number. You want to step opposite of the direction you want to go. I want to take an outside release. I step with my inside leg first, okay? So again, it's just a quick little 1, 2, 3, and then if I want to take an inside release, you can do the same exact thing to the outside, stepping with your outside leg first. Maybe you've beat him a couple times with a 1, 2, and we're going to get to that in a second. That's the next release we're going to focus on. But let's say I go here and I hit him with just a 1, 2, 3, and I throw out wide, like an icky shuffle where you're just going 2 in the ladder, 1 out. So I'm going to show you guys a drill that you guys can do to work on this triple step release. All right, guys, so to work on this triple step release, you want to do exactly kind of how it sounds. We're going to be doing that icky shuffle all the way throughout this ladder, but we're going to be emphasizing that 3rd step, right? Because it's important on this type of release that the first 2 steps is like 2 quicks and you throw on the 3rd, right? So like, let's say I'm coming here and let's say I wanted to work this 1, 2, 3 to the inside and take an outside release. Those first 2 steps, 1, 2, 3, have got to be quick because I want to sell like I'm just giving them a quick 1, 2 and break into the inside. And that 3rd step has got to throw me. It's got to throw my body. I got to throw my hip out. I don't want to open up my hip. I want to throw my hip out, sell with my upper half, but still keep my toes forward. So that's what we're going to be focusing on this icky shuffle. It's going to be those 2 quick steps in the ladder, and you're going to throw on that 3rd step, okay? So we're going to be back here. Line up just like a normal icky shuffle. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you're gonna be throwing on the 3rd step, fast hands. Make sure you're emphasizing your upper half throwing, good pad level, toes stay forward, weight stays on the inside arch so you can burst and have some explosion. You wanna work about 4 sets of this specific icky shuffle drill to work on that triple step release. All right, guys, so now we're gonna be talking about a wide step release. So this is what I was referring to that's gonna build off of those last couple releases that we talked about. So now this is where I wanna take an inside release. Now, a wide step is building off of that quick jab to the inside, where you're gonna be here, you take your back leg and you wanna step outside of the DB's frame. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. There are 3 ways that I teach it that kind of vary, right? So guys, a lot of guys like to go here, and this is what I teach, and they take somewhat of a false step with that front leg. Now, that false step, I wouldn't consider it a false step. It's more of like a power step to push and shoot you out wide, okay? So like this first step, you wanna be here, it's just a subtle, quick step. It's not like you're taking a full 1-2 on this thing. It's a subtle first step that's gonna shoot you out wide. So it's just a little bit of just like a reset, and you push off of this leg to step you outside of the DB's frame. So all it is, wide step is I'm just here and I throw, right? The most important thing is you gotta do exactly how it sounds. It's a wide step, right? So you wanna step wide, step outside of the DB's frame, because he's not gonna move if you take this and you step inside his frame. You're not threatening him vertical. Let's threaten him vertical by actually shooting my body out vertical, turning my shoulders, turning my hips, getting my eyes outside, stepping outside of his frame, and pushing off that inside arch to get back to the inside, okay? Now, another way guys like to do it is just go straight there. They feel like they could just go straight there with the back leg, which is fine. I feel like that doesn't give you as much explosion, but I'm not gonna say that's wrong. Then another way that guys do, and this is kind of a more, I would say a more like common way, guys will kick with that back leg to get him out wide. It serves the same purpose as picking up that front leg and shooting it down. I like the front leg because it helps me process it better if I think in 2s like that, and then ultimately think in 3s when we do a double up off of it. But we're gonna be here, you kick behind and you shoot out. But the most important thing is you step outside the DB's frame, you commit your hips, commit your shoulders to sell vertical. I wanna threaten him vertically, okay? That's a wide step release, but you're gonna go the other way. It'd be the same thing with the left leg. You wanna do this when you're a first read guy and you had to take an inside release. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work this. All right, guys, so for this drill, all you're gonna need is 4 cones, and what you're gonna work on is just doing this wide step and stepping over this line. You guys wanna pretend, you guys can put this on a line if you're on an actual turf field, but you wanna pretend there's a line going through these cones, and you gotta step over the line, bring your body there to step outside of the DB's frame, okay? So we're gonna make sure that we take that quick little false step or that kick step behind. So I'm gonna be here, and I'm just gonna take that quick little false step and throw myself out wide, right? Step outside the DB's frame. I'm literally here, you take that quick false step, make sure that this is quick. I shouldn't even be able to see it if I'm not looking for it, right? If I'm not looking for it, I shouldn't be able to see it. It pushes me out wide, step outside the DB's frame to try to sell him vertical, to try to threaten him vertically, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys how this thing should look full speed. Again, you wanna work about 4 sets each side off of this last cone. What I like to have my guys do is we'll go bam here, and I run a slant, and I catch this thing like off of a 1-step slant, okay? You can work this wide step on any route that you want. I think that it's great for just personally like quick slants, posts, corners working off of it, because you can make your routes look the same. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed. All right, guys, so now we're gonna be talking about this wide step, like kind of double up release, okay? So just this 1-2, now it's gonna be like you're almost thinking in 3s, because you're gonna be thinking about pushing off of this leg to step wide. And it's gonna seem like almost like that double up, which it kind of is, like we just worked on, but it's gonna be built off of this wide step, and it's more so for the drill to build off of it, right? So I'm here, all it is let's say I beat him on this wide step a couple times, right? Still a first read play, right? I'm still the first read on this. So let's say I beat him on that wide step, beat him on a slant, maybe I've hit him with the wide step, I ran a whip and I've kicked it back out, I brought a post, I restack, ran a corner, now I want to take an outside release. Maybe I got to run a comeback, maybe I got to run a speed out, maybe I got to run just a straight vertical, and I want to take an outside release on this guy. So now I'm here, I make it look the exact same. I throw myself out wide, I'm ripping my arms across, selling with my body, trying to threaten him vertical. Now I catch myself on this leg, and I throw back to the inside. So it's just a quick 1, 2, 3, and I push back out wide and take this outside release, okay? So I like this release when the DBs walk down physical. I like it in catch technique when he's at about 2 yards off. He's waiting for you to come at him so he could get hands, because I threaten him vertical, threaten him back to the inside, and I could really get him to move if I sell correctly with my upper half. So again, it's like I'm here, taking that first subtle step. It's literally just 1, 2, 3, and then I'm pushing up vertical. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work on this wide step. Again, toes stay forward, threatening vertical with my upper half, throwing back to the inside, then pushing up on this route. All right, guys, so this drill is just like that original wide step drill, and you guys wanna work this after you work the wide step to build off of it, okay? So now, rather than being on this side, we're gonna wide step with my right leg. I'm gonna flip sides, and I'm gonna go left, right, left, and I'm gonna step over the line, make sure I'm selling with my body, like we're pretending like there's a line right there, threatening the DB, stepping outside of his frame, but inside of my frame, so I'm in an explosive position, okay? So I'm gonna switch sides. All we're doing off of this is we're gonna be running a fade. So what we're gonna do is, I'll show the full thing in a second, but let's say I'm at the top of this right now. All I'm gonna be doing is I'm just taking that quick little subtle step, 1, 2, and I'm stepping over the line. You see how my toe stays forward, weight's on the inside arch. I'm gonna push up vertical, rip the left arm, and burst up, and I'm gonna have a quarterback throw me a fade. If I don't have a quarterback, that's fine. I'm just gonna burst up and keep my head down for about 5 yards, okay? So I'm working this same 1, 2, make sure I'm stepping over the line, threatening the DB vertical, then threatening him to the inside, stepping outside of his frame, selling with my body, keeping the weight on the inside part of my feet. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed, same thing. We wanna work about 4 sets each side. Off the last one, I wanna push up and get vertical. All right, guys, so this next release that we're gonna be talking about is this like hesitation slide release, okay? So this like hesitation slide is to set up a DB, to change up this tempo, to be patient. Now, there's a couple different situations this could build. We're gonna talk about a hesitation and go, hesitation and jab, hesitation 1, 2, then a hesitation 1, 2, 3, okay? And we're gonna be showing drills for each one of those. So the most important thing about this hesitation slide and just get out of there is that we gotta be patient and we gotta threaten this DB to a specific spot. So I'm lined up here, so set, go. When I take this slide, it's the same kind of thing as that wide step. I like using this inside leg as like a false step to shoot me out wide, right? So like not so much a false step, but like a power step. So I'm here, this hesitation slide is something you see like Davante Adams, Keenan Allen do a lot of. So we're lined up here, it's just this little hesitation step, and you kick yourself out wide and you slide. Everybody's seen that slide release, right? But that one little, it's just a quick little hesitation slide, like a wide, like a tap almost, tapping outside and then going. So it's just a slide and go. So I'm here, I'm lined up, I'm gonna take this release. I wanna make sure that when I slide, I'm in this range where the DB has to come at me, right? He's either got to come at me or he's got to stay and watch my hips or stay disciplined to the inside. So this is maybe how I would set some certain routes up, right? So let's say I come here, I give him this slide and he stays on my inside hip, I can just go, right? You just slide and then go. That's how we build up on other routes. That's how we set up other routes. So again, I'm just here, I just give him this slide and go. Now let's say you want to run like an out route. You can run an out route with an inside release or an outside release. So let's say I lined up here, and this is a great release to use against an overly physical DB. So let's say I'm here and I give him this quick little slide, right? And I slide and he comes out with me. I can just put my foot in the ground and take the inside. It's all about reacting off of him, right? So I'm here, I give him this slide, give him one jab, and then I break to the inside. You see Keenan Allen do it all the time. I slide to the outside, he jumps to the outside, give him a quick jab, then break back in, okay? So it's all about being patient and using range. If I'm in this range where this DB has to come at me and has to get hands, if he does get hands, I can just swat and go because he's off his platform. That's why range is so important. So for you smaller physical or smaller, not as physical wide receivers, there's a great release to use to get in that range where the DB has to make a decision. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work on this. All right, guys, so all we're doing on this next drill is gonna be, you're gonna need 4 cones. All you're gonna be doing is just working a shuffle, shuffle, stick. So it's gonna be just a 2 shuffle, putting your foot in the ground to work on that situation. You're gonna work on the patient of that slide, being patient with the slide release or this kind of like hesitation wide step to draw the DB in, then putting your foot in the ground to get to the inside. We're working on tempo here, and we're working on putting my foot in the ground, sticking, and then getting up to the inside of this route, okay? So we're gonna be working about 4 sets each side. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look. So we're gonna go down to the blue. We're gonna be here. All it is just slide, slide, jab, slide, slide, jab, slide, slide, jab. And all we're working on is the tempo of that initial slide off the line, that like hesitation step, put my foot in the ground, okay? So it's just one single cut. We're gonna get into the double cuts in a second, but it's just being patient, sliding, put my foot in the ground, and getting up. I'm gonna show you this thing's gonna look full speed. Again, we got 4 sets going each side. All right, guys, so this next release we're gonna be talking about is just this same kind of slide release, same kind of tempo, but you're gonna be working on 1, 2, or an in-out release off of it. So, okay, so it's gonna build kind of off of just necessarily working this DB out into space. And now the only time I like this release is if I'm a 3rd read on the play, right? That just like slide and go or that slide and jab. You could work that when you're the 1st or 2nd read because it's just one slide, but this is like a patient slide into space, 1, 2, and we throw this 1, 2, and we try to cross him up, okay? So all it's gonna be is you're taking that same first step to shoot you out wide, right? So it's gonna be just here, slide, 1, 2, and then I'm running this slant, right? You could run a slant off of this or a fade. Those are the only 2 routes I like off of this. You can't slide and work a 1, 2 and then try to go run a dig or try to go run a corner. The timing will never be there, okay? So there's like a 3rd read slant or like a second, third read fade, okay, against man coverage, against a physical, almost type DB who likes to try to get hands. So again, it's like I'm here, I take that step to shoot me out wide, right? I'm here, 1, 2, and then I run a slant, or I do the same thing where I slide out here, 1, 2, and I run a fade. All we're trying to do is we're trying to sell like I'm out here, work that 1, 2 like I'm just trying to slide, give him a jab and push vertical, or I slide, throw a 1, 2, and then get back in on that slant, okay? So it's very important that we're patient, work him into space, and then cross him up, okay? I'm gonna show you a drill to work that release. All right, guys, so this next drill is gonna be working on that slide 1, 2. So what this is gonna be focused on is just this little triangle drill where you're gonna slide out to the right, so you're gonna slide, be patient, left, right, then you're gonna slide back here, right, left, just to work on this crossover, getting used to being patient, and then sudden, right? Sliding into this open range where the DB has to make a decision. So if I work this slide release and I'm out in this range like I was talking about the previous video, where you're almost at a 45-degree angle where you gotta draw this DB in, I'm in this range right here, right? I gotta work on being able to cross him up if he tries to shuffle with me and wash my hips, right? I gotta sell with my upper half and throw this 1, 2. So this drill is all about being patient and then being sudden with that 1, 2. So again, you're gonna be here. I'll show you full speed in a second. So all we're doing is we're taking that same small step to shoot me out, left, right. I slide back, right, left, and then I'm back out. You catch a slant off of it. Make sure that we're bursting inside on a slant because we're going in out on this release, okay? I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed. Since we're working both sides, you guys probably wanna work about 6 sets of this drill. All right, guys, so this next release we're gonna be talking about is this kind of like slide, same idea, but it's gonna be a 1, 2, 3, okay? So this 1, 2, 3 that we're gonna be working on is you're in this range and we're selling like what we're doing. We're selling like we're just going here, sliding, and I'm giving them a 1, 2, and then I'm breaking back out vertical, but I'm catching myself on that third step. So it builds. All these releases build, and they're all somewhat connected. It builds off of that like icky shuffle release we were just talking about earlier, right? So it's a slide, right, right, or a slide, left, left. Selling like I'm just hitting him with a 1, 2, going vertical. Maybe one time I beat him on a fade and I hit him with this slide and I went 1, 2 and I just beat him over the top. Got him sitting to the inside, sitting on my inside hip, and I beat him bad over the top. Maybe I don't even have the ball in this situation, right? Maybe I'm not even getting the ball. Now I got to run a slant. Maybe I'm the third read on the play, like it's maybe like you're the furthest outside guy. You got like a scissors concept and you're the slant coming underneath. You're the third read. You're the last read on this play. You got time to work off the line. So that's when I want to use this. So I come off the line here. I give him that slide, 1, 2, 3, and I catch myself, burst back inside on this slant. Okay, so again, I'm using that step to shoot me out to that range. I stay in this range and I go 1, 2, push out 3, catch myself, rip back underneath. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work this third read slant release. All right, guys, so this is gonna be the same triangle release that we just worked for that slide 1, 2, but again, now it's gonna be just a slide 1, 2, 3 to work on this slant release. So off of this last one, we gotta make sure that we're running a slant. So it's the same tempo, same slide, same thing. You wanna work about 6 sets of this, and you wanna do this after you work that slide double up so it all builds, right? So we're gonna be lined up here. Make sure I'm kicking myself out wide with this first step. I slide, right, and then I'm gonna slide back, left. And it's very important that we're patient, and then we explode and we're sudden, and we're selling this thing with my upper half. Like I said, I wanna work about 6 sets of this drill. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed. All right, guys, so now we're gonna be talking about this diamond release, okay? So what this diamond release is what you would work on a slant only, because it's just kind of a longer route or a longer release for anything else, right? So what it is 3 steps on a hard 45-degree angle to try to get this DB to turn. So let's say he's inside leverage press and I gotta run a slant, right? So this DB's inside shade, I gotta run a slant. So what I'm gonna do, set, go. I'm gonna take off and do 3 hard steps on a 45 and make sure that I'm selling vertical, because that's what I gotta do. The goal is to get him to turn his hips and run with me. So if I sell vertical hard for 3 steps, I can get him to turn his hips and run, right? So I'm here, I come off the line, set, go. My first step is threatening him vertical. I'm committing my shoulders, committing my hips. That's 1, 2, 3, and I pop off on the 3rd step. I make sure that my inside hand, my left hand, I'm working to actually throw him by and rip back underneath and run this slant route, okay? So it's about taking 3 hard steps on a 45-degree angle to get him to turn his hips and to run with me. If I get him to turn his hips and run with me, I could easily throw him by, force that speed turn. If I accelerate out, I'm back underneath. So again, I'm right here, so I'm coming off the line. It's just set, go, 1, 2, 3, break it back off underneath. Now the mistake people make is they'll take choppy steps or they'll be flat. So what guys will do is they'll go 1, 2, 3, and it's real choppy, doesn't move this DB off the platform. He's just gonna shuffle with me. That's what the drill we're gonna be working on is gonna be doing. Now, another thing that guys will do is they'll come off here and they'll go flat. DB's just gonna shuffle with me. He's not gonna turn his hips. I gotta attack that 45. Don't be afraid of contact. And swat him by, rip back underneath him. I'll show you guys a drill to work this with the ladder. All right, guys, so what this is gonna be working on is you actually taking a full 3 steps on this diamond, not chopping the steps, actually running to get this DB to turn his hips, right? So you're gonna start out here, and I'm gonna show you from the top of the ladder, show you right here for a better angle. You're gonna start out like this, and you're gonna be about 1 box back from each box. So you're gonna start out here, set, go. Your first step's gonna be in this ladder, second step's gonna be out, and you're gonna catch yourself on the third. You're just taking full 3 steps out of the ladder to get you guys used to actually running on this diamond and not chopping your steps, right? Because if I chop my steps, DB won't move off the platform. He could just shuffle with me, then all this is for naught and it's all wasted motion. It's important that I actually run, try to get him to turn his hips, put the brakes on, rip back underneath him. I'll show you how this drill is gonna look full speed. You guys wanna work about 4 sets of this, each side to work on taking a full 3 steps on your diamond release. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look. All right, guys, so now building off of that diamond release, right? We want to use that diamond release on a slant. Now let's say I got to run a fade, right? A slant and a fade are connected. So how we can do this now is it's going to be a 4-step sequence, right? So the diamond release was 3 steps. Now this is going to be 4 steps. So I'm coming off the line here, set, go. I do the same 1, 2, 3, I catch myself. Let's say maybe I beat him on this diamond release before. Let's say he's not completely threatened by my vertical get off now at this 45-degree angle, and he's kind of sitting on my inside hip. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I throw him and I hit him with this 1, 2 at the top of it. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2. It's 4 steps total. It's important that we get into this range where we're taking full 3 steps. I catch myself, throw myself back to the inside with my upper half. I'm selling with my upper half, just like we were talking about on all these releases. That 1, 2 builds off of this to try to get him to sit to the inside, and then I push up vertical and I beat him over the top. So again, it's gonna look something similar to this. So it's here, set, go, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I burst up field, 3 full steps, 3 hard steps at a 45-degree angle. I'll give you guys a better look. So it's here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm out. Make sure that I'm selling that 3, 4. Make sure my upper half is selling it. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work on that release. All right, guys, so this is gonna be pretty much the same release drill that we did for that 3-step diamond cut. Now it's gonna be the same thing on this ladder, but all we're gonna be doing is we're taking the full 3 steps, because the biggest thing guys will do on this as well is chop their steps and they don't get enough of a sell with their upper half. Make sure that we're selling with my upper half, okay? So I'm gonna be here, so it's gonna be the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're off to the next one. We're gonna move up box to box, okay? So it's the same exact drill. You guys are gonna work 4 sets on each head. The reason why we do the same exact drill, this is adding a step, is because if we can make it all look the same and we can make our releases look similar, it's that much easier to get separation because we're not predictable, right? If I were to work this and I were to take choppy steps every single time, a DB would be able to know. A DB would be able to break that tendency. But if I'm able to take a full 3 steps, make it look the exact same, cut off this 3rd step, make it look the same with my upper half, and it's the same tempo, same timing, same speed, that's gonna get me some space because they can't prepare for that. They can't study that on film and understand how I'm gonna work each individual route, each individual release. That's how we become unpredictable, okay? So I wanna work about 4 sets of this drill each side. I'm gonna show you how it's gonna look full speed. All right, guys, so now we're gonna be talking about 2 variations of this diamond release that are really how you would drill them is kind of similar to how we just drilled these last 2, but it's gonna be more so when you're like a 3rd read on a slant route, okay? So again, we're just focusing on a slant route, or it's gonna be a goal line slant situation. We're gonna talk about this in 2 parts, right? So this release is like a hesitation diamond release, right? So I come off the line and I'm gonna give him this little hesitation 1, 2, 3. Now all this is for is it's building off of that same hesitation and go release that we just worked on, right? So that same where you guys came off the line and you kind of slid and then just went vertical. So now it's the same thing. We're building off of the same thing. I'm giving him that same little hesitation slide. I'm taking that false step, right? This builds. That's why all these releases build. That's why I structured this video in the way that I did, so it all builds and you guys continue to get better and better and better and improve your skills video after video after video, right? So I come off here. Now I'm gonna give this little slide, and then when I hit him with that slide, I'm gonna push vertical for 3 hard steps. And when I go 3 hard steps, it's the same kind of technique on that diamond release. I slide, I'm patient, I get him to slow his tempo down, then I take 3 hard steps on a 45-degree angle, try to get him to turn his hips and run with me, right? So I come off the line here, I give him this little slide, and then I go 1, 2, 3, pop this thing off, and break back underneath on this slant route, okay? So it's just about changing up the tempo, trying to get him to feel that same slide and go release, hit him with the slide, push 3 steps, cut on that 3rd step, then break back underneath on a slant. All right, guys, so this next release we're gonna be talking about is how you can run a goal line slant with this guy inside leverage, because we wanna sell, like, what do we normally sell on a diamond release, right? So we wanna sell like I'm going vertical, like I'm trying to just run past this guy, I'm trying to take an outside release and just beat him with speed. So on a goal line situation, like 10 going in, I'm trying to sell him with that quick goal line fade up over the shoulder, right? So I'm maybe not keeping my head down, I'm gonna give this little peek back off the line with this hesitation, 1, 2, 3, and go, right? So I come off the line, it's the exact same release we were just working. I'm lined up here, I give this same little hesitation, and I go. But the only thing that changes about the tempo of this is that the tempo doesn't change. The only thing that changes about this release itself is that I shoot my eyes like I'm looking back for this ball, like I'm trying to catch this thing over the goal line. Now, what that makes the DB do is he sees you slide, he's changing up this tempo, and you push up vertical, maybe not as fast, maybe you kind of change up the tempo a little bit. That's kind of where you kind of got to be an artist yourself and kind of craft this thing together. But when you peek back with your eyes, that gets him to think, oh shit, I don't want to get beat over top on this fade. I don't want to get beat on a jump ball. And then I get him to commit his hips, I get him to play this fade, and I could be here 1, 2, 3, pop this thing back underneath him and catch this slant. So that's another variation that you guys can use on a diamond release. You guys can work this in open space, even if it's like maybe like a 4th and short situation where maybe they're thinking we're just going to try to beat him over the top, 3rd and short. But selling with your eyes is another great way to get this DB to commit his hips and to play this fade, because your eyes tell lies. I'm going to show you how this thing's going to look full speed just like the last clip. All right, guys, so the next release that we're gonna be talking about is called the squirt release, okay? So the squirt release is something that you could use when you're attacking a DB's leverage. So anytime that a DB is off man, or like he's walked down in like a catch technique, right? So what that means is when a DB's about 1 to 2 yards off, he's obviously in a man coverage situation. More often than not, he's probably gonna be inside leverage, especially when we work this squirt release, but it's gonna be exactly how it sounds. It's gonna be like you're here, and you're just gonna squirt off the line and attack his leverage, okay? Now, the reason why we attack his leverage is because that forces him to make a decision, right? So if you come at a DB, just think about it like how a DB would, right? So you're here and you attack a DB's midline, right? That's where we want to attack, his midline or his inside shoulder if he's inside leverage, right? So I come at him and I attack him. What a DB is coached to do, he's coached to keep his leverage, right? Or he's not going to do it, but he's not going to play it well, and he's going to start backpedaling. If I get him to backpedal and get him to be on his heels, that's when I can throw this 1-2 and get some separation. So we're going to mainly be talking about this kind of hesitation squirt release right now to work a 1-2. That's the drill that we're going to show next. But it's so important that you attack the DB's midline and you attack his leverage, okay? Especially when even a situation where he's maybe 5 yards off, right? And he's inside leverage. I still want to attack his leverage. I still want to try to attack his midline and push at him to try to move him off that platform. Because imagine if you're coming off the line and let's say you're from the slot, right? And he's got inside leverage here and you got to run maybe an out route. And he's inside leverage and I come at him and I just threaten him here and he keeps his leverage. I throw a 1-2 and I take this out route and I just go to this thing right now. He gave me all that space because he was coached to keep his leverage and to not let me get inside of him, right? So if we come out here and we attack his leverage and he backs up, I could throw a 1-2, I attack his leverage, he stays to the inside, I can still throw a 1-2, but just take the outside release. And same idea, maybe he's head up, I attack his leverage and he shoots outside, I give him a move and I take the inside release. That squirt release is all about gathering info, right? So I come off the line, literally, I'm just here, you just come at him and you come straight at his leverage. If he's head up, how you would work this squirt release is you come straight at him here, okay? I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work that squirt release and throw a 1-2. Okay, this is a great release to work when you got an off man situation with a DB, inside leverage, head up, whatever it is, but he's playing this catch technique, trying to get you to come at him. We want to attack his leverage and get him on the defensive. All right, guys, so this next drill right here for this squirt release, all you're gonna need is 6 cones. So you're gonna need 6 cones about spread out 3 yards apart and just 2 by 2, right? So when we have this 2 by 2 cone set right here, 6 sets, all we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be taking it slow and we're gonna be resetting in between each cone, but we're gonna work this like hesitation, squirt release, and throwing a 1-2 off of it. So you wanna go about 4 sets where you hesitate and throw a right left, and then 4 sets where you hesitate and throw a left right. Now the most important thing, especially about this squirt release, is keeping your base, okay? So when I come off the line here and I squirt out this DB, I don't want my feet to get super narrow, right? Because when you go here and your feet get super narrow, then you have these long 2 moves and you get outside of your frame. When you attack his leverage, you want to make sure that you stay in a good base, so I can throw a quick 1-2 anytime I need to, and if the same principles apply from all the releases we've talked about earlier in this video, that 1-2 has got to be sudden, your body's got to work, you got to keep the weight on the inside arch of your foot, okay? So I'm going to show you just from the middle right now, and then I'm going to show you the full thing, full speed. So all we're going to do is we're going to be here. We're going to come off, you're gonna hesitate, 1, 2, throw the right, left, then you're gonna reset at this cone, and you're gonna do the exact same thing at the next cone, okay? You're just gonna work it 3 times. Off the last one, I don't necessarily have my guys work a route off of this, but if you would like to throw that 1, 2, maybe burst up vertical and catch a quick, maybe like a quick easy up fade, or throw a 1, 2 and catch a slant off of it, that's fine with me. I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed. Again, 4 sets each side, so 4 sets hesitating, going right, left, 4 sets hesitating, going left, right. All right, guys, so these next 2 releases we're gonna be talking about are a foot fire release and just this burst. I call it like a threaten release, where you're gonna threaten this DB and you're just gonna come at him fast. And they're both very similar to that squirt release. It's kind of the same concept. It's just based around attacking leverage. It's just a change in tempo. So now we're gonna be talking about a foot fire release, okay? So what a foot fire release is, again, exactly how it sounds. This DB is gonna be inside the shade or just head up, or maybe even outside leverage, and we wanna attack his leverage, okay? Or maybe you're out of the slot, you got a linebacker sitting on the inside leverage of you, and you wanna attack him, you wanna threaten him, okay? So when we come off the line, what a foot fire release is, all it is you're coming off and you're just acting like your feet are on fire. You're gonna give him a quick chatter. Doesn't need to be that many steps, but something quick off the line. We want a quick burst. What this is trying to do is force a reaction out of him, right? Maybe one time I come off the line, I give him that squirt release where I kind of hesitate at him and I take it nice and slow. So he's expecting my tempo to be slow. Maybe I've hit him a couple different times on that. Maybe I've hit him with that slide and go release. He thinks off the line that my tempo likes to change, right? So now I come at him and I threaten him. I want to threaten this guy. I want to get him to change up his tempo to try to match mine. And I hit him with this quick foot fire release to get a reaction out of him and to get him to overreact. And when I could get him to overreact, I could get him to keep that leverage or get him on his heels or sit flat-footed and freeze him because I came off and changed my tempo. He's not expecting that. He's expecting my tempo to be nice and slow. I come off with a quick tempo, a fast tempo, that forces a reaction out of him, and then it's easier to throw this 1, 2. So we're gonna show you a drill right now and the technical points behind a foot fire release. All right, guys, so this drill for this foot fire release, what this is going to be focusing on is really just when you come off the line and you're working a foot fire, you want to make sure that your hands and your feet active and your hands are ready to go, okay? So especially on a foot fire release, and same thing on that squirt release I forgot to add. When you come off the line with this foot fire, you don't want to pick your chest straight up, because if you pop your chest straight up, you're more susceptible to get jammed and to get knocked off of this block, right? So you want to make sure that when you come out, your hands and your feet are working, but your hands are ready to go. I'm not saying be super tense up here, but I'm not saying have them down here so I can get choked off the line. I want to get my hands ready to go. My hands are kind of by my face. So all we're doing is we're starting at that last cone, going foot fire, working a 1, 2 at the first set of cones, right back into the foot fire, working a 1, 2 again. You want to work about 4 sets of this going each side, okay? So all it's going to be is like you're starting at the back cone, you're going foot fire, foot fire, foot fire, 1, 2. I'm making sure that I throw my hip into this thing, selling with my upper half, make sure I'm selling with my body, selling with my hips, because that's where the DB is going to be looking. Especially in a catch technique, he's going to be off, he's going to be watching those hips, he's going to be looking at that number. So I got to sell with here, and my feet got to be quick and sudden to force a reaction at him. Like I said, 4 sets where we go right, left, then 4 sets where we go left, right, okay? Now you could get creative on this foot fire and that squirt release where you could come out, you give a foot fire and you could go 1, 2, 3, or you could give him just a hard 1 step. But right now we're just working on that double move. It all builds off of those first original releases that we talked about. All right, guys, so this next release that I want to talk about is this like threaten release, okay? So this threaten release, what that is literally what we were just talking about, where we just go straight at the DB and we come off fast, right? So maybe this is something that I open the game with, right? He likes to play catch. We know going into the game, and these are 3 releases that you guys can build off of, all 3 of these in a single game, right? It's all about having a plan going into games where you have like 5, 6 different releases in your head ready to go. You come to the line, okay, I've seen that on film. Let's execute this release. Let's get up to this route, right? That's how you guys got to kind of work your pre-snap process. Now, when we're coming off the line here, when I'm coming at this DB, all it's about is attacking him fast and bursting straight off the line, maybe giving him this hard jab, maybe giving him this 1, 2. We're gonna be working on 1, 2 again when we get to those drills, but it's all about threatening him and trying to get him to move off this block and try to get him to have a reaction. If I could get him to react, I could react off of him and then be able to get some separation, right? So we wanna take this thing straight at his midline. That's the goal. I come off the line right here, I attack him, I attack his midline, I threaten him, give him a move opposite of where I'm going, and then I work, okay? That's what this threaten release is about. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work on this threaten release while throwing a 1, 2. So important off the line initially that I don't take a false step to where I don't have enough explosion. I come and burst off of this first step. Like let's say my left leg's up, I'm driving out right now, I'm attacking his midline, trying to get him on the defensive so I can make a move and go. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work on this threaten release right now. All right, guys, so this drill is very similar to that foot fire drill where you're just gonna need 5 cones. All you're gonna do is you're gonna start that orange cone in the back, but all we're doing is we're literally just bursting off the line, just hitting 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's gonna be 4 cuts. You're breaking right cone at the white cone, right? Your right leg's breaking in air at the white cone, then you're going left leg, left leg, then you're out. So it's 4 total cuts. All we're working on is attacking this DB's leverage fast, coming out explosive, really threatening him, right? Trying to force a reaction on him. This might be the first release. I come out in the first quarter, I see that he's changing up, he's inside leverage, right? He's maybe changing up his alignment. He's inside leverage in this catch technique. I burst at him, give him a quick move, and then I go. Then I hit him with the change it to tempo. That throws him off because he's not used to that. Then I come out with a foot fire, and then we're in his head. And if we can get in that DB's head and start to get him to think with these 3 different releases, I can really get some separation and really do a lot of damage in a game when I'm working against man coverage or off man coverage like we're talking about right now, or this catch technique, okay? So number 1, we're gonna work on bursting out, throwing these 4 steps into this cut. We wanna work about, again, 4 sets going right, left, and then 4 sets going left, right. So the set, you're gonna start with your left leg up, and you're just gonna burst straight into it. Then the second set of 4, you're gonna start with your right leg up and burst straight into it, okay? I'm gonna show you how this thing's gonna look full speed. Again, 4 sets each side. All right, guys, so the next release we're gonna be talking about is this dive release, okay? So what a dive release is, again, it's kind of exactly how it sounds. You're just gonna dive to the inside to try to get this DB to think that you're trying to cross his face, okay? So now, most important thing right on this dive release is that we gotta commit my shoulders and my hips. Now, this is kind of like the opposite of a diamond release. Remember, we just talked about a diamond release. So this diamond release is where you go 3 steps on that 45. Now, the dive is where you're gonna go 2 steps on a 45, but you're going to the inside, trying to make this DB think you're going to the inside. So literally all it is, if I'm lined up on the right side here, say go, I'm almost just pivoting off of this leg. This is the awkward part because a lot of guys will pick this up, but that takes away your explosion. You almost want to just pivot on it, 1, break off the second, and then I'm back out. You can work this dive release because only 2 steps on really any kind of route where you want to take an outside release, right? We're just trying to threaten him with the drag. So if you're a team that likes to run a lot of drags and just get across the field right now, this is a great release for you. And we're gonna talk about how this dive release can build into something that'll help you actually run a drag or run a quick slant to get some separation, okay? So again, this dive release, it's very important that when I come off, I'm here. I commit my shoulders, hips, eyes. I have the same strides. What a lot of people will do on this is they'll come off the line and they'll just go 2 quick steps like this. When you take 2 quick steps like that, DB ain't threatened by that. You're not threatened to cross his face. His worst nightmare in man coverage is having to chase you 50 yards across the field. So if we come off and I take 2 shuffle steps like this, it's just 2 quick steps, he's just gonna shuffle with us. You try to break back outside, he's right here. Throws off the whole timing of the release, right? I wanna make sure that I'm here. I explode off the line. I take 2 hard steps on this 45, pop my foot in the ground, get back to the outside. You could work this on a quick out route. You could work this on a deep 10-yard out route where you come off the line and you go here and you go 1, 2, break up 1, 2, 3, and you break on a 5-yard out, maybe take it a little bit deeper, 10-yard speed out, a corner, you could restack and run a post. So many different things you could do off this dive release. I'm gonna show you guys a drill to work this release. All right, guys, so this drill is mainly to work on your dive release, but you can also use it to practice your diamond. So we're throwing 2 moves together, okay? And we're gonna be catching a slant off of it. So you're gonna have a quarterback who's gonna stand about here, obviously a little bit further back. And we're gonna start on the right side of that green cone. Then obviously when we flip it, we'll start on the left side of this green cone. I'm taking that pink cone over there and it's just gonna be flipped, okay? So that's all it's gonna be. Now, what we're working on is diving to the inside with my shoulders, hips, and staying in full speed, staying in full stride, and being able to pop this cut right now. What you don't want to do on this, so all it's going to be is you're going to be here, you're going to dive, 1, 2, breaking off of this leg, 1, 2, 3, coming back across, catching this slant. Mainly what we're focused on is getting your hips and your shoulders committed to each cone and not reaching with your cuts. That's what a lot of people do on a dive release. They'll be here and they'll go 1, 2, and they'll reach out with this cut and they try to throw this DB by, but because they reach, they lean back, they're off balance, and then they get knocked off of this block, right? It's got to be a hard 1, 2, put my foot in the ground. It's sudden to force a reaction, but also so the DB doesn't have time to react. I'm able to stay in a good pad level position, okay? So all it's going to be is 2 steps dive to the inside, then 3 steps on a diamond back to the outside, working on being able to cut 45 degrees and being able to get out of breaks fast. Keep my arms running, keep my chest down, hips and shoulders committed to each cone, right? Again, so I'm going to be here. It's just 2 steps. It's 1, 2, sudden cut, don't reach, stay committed. 1, 2, 3, and off of this break, I'm ripping my arms out, ripping this left arm behind me just like a normal diamond release, catching this slant, snap my head around. I'm gonna show you this thing's gonna look full speed. I wanna work about 5 sets each way. All right, guys, so this release, you can't really have a drill for it, so we're just mainly gonna talk about the technique, and I'm just gonna show you because it builds off of all the 1-2 cut drills that we do, but it builds off of that dive release, okay? So now let's say I like this on a drag, mainly because that's what it sells, the dive release, right? So let's say I gotta run a drag. Let's say I beat this guy on a drag. I beat him on a drag, beat him on a drag. I'm a drag-heavy team. We like a lot of that mesh concept, right? Which is a lot of teams these days. Now let's say I beat him one time on that dive release, excuse me. I beat him on that dive release, and I was able to take an outside release. Now I'm in his head. He doesn't know if I'm gonna drag across the field. He doesn't know if I'm gonna break back out. So what I'm gonna do is it's like a dive 1-2, so it's 3 steps. So I dive to the inside, pivoting off this leg, commit my hips and shoulders, then I go 2-3, and it's like I give him this shake like I'm breaking on a dive release, going back outside. I gotta sell with my body, so it's 3 steps total. So I'm coming off here, it's like a hard 1, 2, 3, and then I get back across his face and run a drag. I'm just giving him a little shake off the line. So I'm selling like I'm running a dive release, just trying to cross his face, get his hips to commit, but he's thinking, oh no, I'm not gonna get beat on this dive release again. I'm gonna stay disciplined on his inside hip. You sell with your body, your feet are sudden to force a reaction. Throw your body, because that's where he's gonna be looking. He's gonna be looking at that hip, get him sitting to the outside, then I can cross his face on this drag. So this is like a dive 1-2, like a little bit of a shake release off the line. Threaten him to the inside, try to cross his face, commit hips and shoulders, 1-2, and that 1-2 has to be sudden. I can't go like this. I can't go 1-2, hard 3. It doesn't sell anything. You want to sell like you're planting off of the second step, throwing your body back to the outside, get him sitting outside, then cross his face. I'm going to show you how this thing should look full speed. All right, guys, so the last 3 releases we're going to talk about are pretty creative releases. I wouldn't say necessarily creative on a couple of them, but they're more so releases that are a little bit more complicated, a little bit more, like I wouldn't say structured releases, but it's just something to throw this DB's tempo off, right? Something that you guys could have, another tool in your tool belt that you guys could work on. There's not really many, just like the last release, there's not really many drills to work on these, but it's all about just technique. It's all about understanding what it tries to accomplish. So the first one we're going to talk about is the skip release, okay? So it's that same, what builds off of this is working all those 1-2 drills. It's just another thing to change up the tempo on a DB, right? So maybe I've hit him with that squirt release, maybe I've hit him with that foot fire, maybe I've hit him with just that attack release where I throw that 1-2 and I just go straight at him. Now I hit him with like this little skip release, just another thing to change up tempo, right? So I come off here and I come at him and I give him this little like skip, 1-2, and then I'm out of there, okay? So all that skip does and changing up that tempo, maybe I pick my pad level up a little bit. I'm only working this when I'm like a 3rd or 4th read because it takes a while and he's in a catch technique, okay? I'm not doing this when he's walked down and he's pressed. I'm gonna try to skip in place, so I'm gonna get choked off the line and jam back. So if he's walked down, I only have about a half a yard to work with, I'm probably not gonna skip. If he's at about 2 yards and he's sitting there, I could give him this skip and then throw a 1-2, just something to change up the tempo, something to get him guessing, okay? So a skip release, I'm gonna show you how this release should look full speed. All right, guys, so now we're gonna be talking about a shock release, okay? So a shock release is one of my favorite releases because it's really just when you're better than a DB, can't stand DBs. So if you got a smaller, quicker DB who's gonna try to get physical, a shock release, especially for you bigger guys, is something you could do. So all a shock release is literally you're coming off the line and you're just freaking bodying this guy, you're getting him off of you and you're pushing vertical. That's all it is, you're just getting into this route, right? He's trying to tempt you, he's trying to come up here and test you, trying to get physical. I just give it right to him. You know you're more physical than this guy. Now the technique behind this is you're here, you got to make sure that you drive low and you shoot your hips, okay? Almost like a power clean. When you guys do a power clean, you shoot your hips, or like a vertical jump, you guys throw your hips. Same idea. I work this shock release, I come off the line, I shoot my hips, and I drive him back to knock him off this thing. It's just about being more physical than this guy and being able to outbody this guy. So when you want to use this release, when you're a bigger guy, or even when you're a smaller guy, but you got a smaller DB who's trying to get physical with you off the line, shock release him, then get up into this route. All right, so this next release we're going to be breaking down is just this like double like 1-2 release. So what you're going to be doing is it's a little bit easier to break it down rather than to explain it. So we're going to be doing a release where we give it inside jab, then we're going to go outside, then we're going to give a little foot fire, a little chatter, then go back out, then in. Okay, so this is a great release to use on like a goal line fade situation when you got to catch technique DB and you got to close the distance with him. Okay, so let's watch this thing full speed. So I give this 1-2 chatter out in, right? So it's like you're doing the same move, but it's opposite, right? So you're going to be taking this first jab to the inside, so it's a single cut here. Then you go out, so it's an in-out release first. So it's in, out, then I give this little cheddar, hesitate, close the distance with this DB, then I go out, in. And when I throw this out, in release, it's trying to sell like I'm just going in, out, and then I give one single jab to the outside and break back in on this slant. This is just another great release that you guys can do. Another one that we just can't really drill. It's more so that you got to rep it live against a DB or a shadow corner. So again, it's just an in, out, give a little chatter, and then an out, back in. Make sure I'm selling with my upper half. Make sure I keep my toes forward and weight stays on the inside arch, just like everything else that we've talked about in this video. Okay, so let me play this thing again full speed. So it's just in, out, chatter, out, in, right? And then we push up vertical and catch this fade over the top. This is the last release out of our 20 press releases with drills and breakdowns on each one to improve your game. Thank you guys for getting this program again. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.